that was such a pleasant month-long nap. Where was I? I just finished explaining the possible origins and explanations behind Cresselia, a sort of girly Greek pagan moon goddess, swan Buddhist angel. Yeah, that's a sentence. And I guess that just means it's time to talk about the other half of the Lunar duo, Darkrai. Or as I like to call him, Dark. After all, the name pulls from our word for dark, and Kurai, which is the Japanese word for dark. So his name is just Dark twice. You know that thing where edgy characters are actually hilarious? Yeah, it's that. I mean, have you seen Darkrai's legs? It's kind of difficult to take it seriously while those are out. Oh, I had a horrible dream. The IRS audited me, and they were suspicious about me suddenly receiving a large sum of money from a mattress company, which I guess does sound suspicious now that I say it out loud. But no, you see, I just happen to be sponsored by Helix Sleep. Did you know that nightmares in adults are primarily caused by stress, anxiety, certain medications, and sleep deprivation? Kinda ironic because the nightmares only cause more sleep deprivation, but that's just how it is. Laying on an old and uncomfortable mattress can turn your sleep zone into a creep zone. Your bed should help, not hinder, and that's where Helix comes in. Helix makes premium mattresses and ship them right to you. Comfy. Now, everybody sleeps a little bit differently, and Helix knows that, so they made a quick and easy sleep quiz that you can take that will match you and a partner to your perfect mattress. And after sleeping on one for over 2 years? Not all at once, though, I swear. I can definitely see why it was the most awarded mattress brand in 2020. Plus, there's no need to have an anxious nightmare about spending a lot of money on something you haven't tried yet because they have a 100-night sleep trial. You get over 3 months to try it out and see if you love it, and if not, they'll pick it up and refund you. My wife and I are both side sleepers who like a bit of plush on a firm but not too firm bed, and she just starts radiating so much heat once she's asleep, like ah! So we got the Helix Midnight Lux with its breathable tensile cover and medium feel, and it's definitely made both of us a lot more comfortable, so I think you'll like them too. So if you're looking for a new bed, check out their sleep quiz with my link in the description, helixsleep.com/Lockstin, and find the mattress that's right for you, and get up to $200 off of it. The deals! So good! Now, a not-so-good deal is having a Darkrai on your team. I mean, that thing just exudes nightmares to anyone who sleeps in its general vicinity. Is that a good trade-off? No! Oh well, though, we're here today to talk about the potential origins and inspirations that went into the design and creation of Darkrai. And part of it is kinda gross. Darkrai is the pitch black Pokémon, and as such is most active on the night of the new moon, the phase of the moon where you cannot see the lit side of the moon at all. The term pitch black here is incredibly fitting. It's been used since the days of Old English. Pitch is a very, very dark wood tar used for waterproofing the seams of ships. One Scottish poem from the time describes a cloudy night as grim and ghastly and pick black. According to the Pokédex, Folklore has it that on moonless nights this Pokémon will make people see horrific nightmares. It chases people and Pokémon from its territory by causing them to experience deep, nightmarish slumbers. And in the games, there's a sailor you meet who is plagued by nightmares, and his name is Sailor Eldritch. A beyond fitting name. Eldritch is defined as weird and sinister or ghostly, and is most well known for its use in the horror genre, Eldritch horror, sometimes called cosmic horror or Lovecraftian horror. It's a subgenre of horror that emphasizes the horror of the unknown and incomprehensible, the mystery of the existential unknown and forbidden knowledge. Many beasts from this genre are amorphous, shapeless, and indescribable. Their form breaks the confines of physics, like a ghost or a cloudy mass, like Darkrai. Its cloudy, wispy look is very intentional. The only night darker than a night on the new moon is a cloudy night on the new moon, the clouds blocking out even the tiny bit of light that the stars give you. And even if the moon is somewhat visible to some extent, small clouds passing in front of it make the shadows around you undulate, like Darkrai's shoulders, adding to your own fear of the dark. And really, what is the fear of the dark, if not just the fear of the unknown? The fear of what you cannot see. Cresselia had a bit to do with Greek constellations and mythology, and Darkrai does too. If we look at the Greco-Roman god Morpheus, who is associated with sleep and dreams, we see a lot of interesting connections. He is close with his brother Phobator, who is known as the Frightener, as he appears in people's dreams as shadow-like humanoids who are often evil. And they are both sons of Somnus, the Roman personification of sleep, and the equivalent of the Greek Hypnos. Remember, Roman mythology is just Greek mythology with a load of asterisks. Hypnos then is the twin brother of Thanatos, the god of death, and both are said to live in the underworld, and this connection is what led most at the time to believe that death is simply the final sleep. And when you sleep, a part of you dies and needs to find its way back. And if it has a hard time finding its way back, nightmares may ensue. Hypnos and Thanatos' parents were Nyx, goddess of the night, who interestingly is also depicted with the sheer scarves we talked about in the Cresselia video. And Erebus, a primordial deity, one of the first 5 beings in existence, and the personification of deep darkness and shadow. So mysterious and dark that no one in the classical world dared to depict him. At least none that we could find. But being the darkness itself surely would make him difficult to show, formless even, like many of the primordials. How mysterious and eldritch. The name Erebus would later be used to describe darkness itself because he was the darkness itself, especially the place of darkness between Earth and Hades. The place that a part of you goes to when you sleep. A soft death. Who knows if you'll wake up tomorrow? But is that it with Darkrai? It's just a personification of nightmares and the associated shadows, darkness, a personification of sleep, and perhaps a personification of all of the ideas behind those Greco-Roman gods associated with all of those things. This painting of Morpheus does for sure make me think about Darkrai, and Darkrai is certainly much more masculine to balance out Cresselia's feminine. And due to all of those gods being gods, rather than goddesses, that surely adds to that. But surely there's something more than just being a formless shadow. Well, yeah, maybe. And it's quite a bit more recent. The word folklore in that Pokedex entry jumps out at me, and Darkrai's whole look seems to scream about the time period that is known for its folklore above all. And if I were to design a personification of nightmares, I would absolutely look into the origins of the word nightmare. The word nightmare comes from Old English, and it refers to a visit in the night with a mare, a mythological demon or goblin who torments others with sleep paralysis and frightening dreams. And the same word, the Old English mare, can also refer to an incubus, a demon of sorts that lies upon and suffocates sleepers. It should also be noted that at the time it became generally accepted that incubi and succubi were the same demon, able to switch between male and female forms. So, spooky devils and goblins, yeah? Such tales would of course evolve into the now generic boogeyman, ghosts and monsters that torment children in their sleep, but not before they took the blame for an interesting outbreak of disease. Starting in the Middle Ages, Polish Plait, or Plait, began taking hold in Europe. It's in a way a hair disease where the hair becomes entangled irreversibly, forming a matted blob which can be sticky and moist. It's caused by a total absence of hair grooming while also working dirty jobs. Thus, it was of course found among the peasantry, especially farmhands who herded livestock. And they would often get lice in there to top it all off. Of course, the dirty Europeans didn't know that this was the cause, and instead they blamed it on, you guessed it, visits from mares in the night, tangling your hair with a curse while also delivering a spooky dream. Now, there could be some real connection here, as nightmares tend to cause people to toss and turn and move their arms about, which could possibly tangle some of their hair. And also, it should be noted that this supernatural connection to the condition is why it also goes by the names Elflock to the English and Hexenzopf to the Germans. And the reason it mainly goes by Polish Plait is because for a time, the Polish actually found it fashionable and would artificially give it to themselves by washing their hair with mixtures of herbs, sweetened wine, and waxes. The longest we have on record belonged to a Polish noblewoman in 1786. It was described as being 4 meters. Anyway, the whole reason I'm talking about this is of course because of Darkrai's hairstyle resembling it. Not just in looks, but in origin too. If real nightmares are the cause of hair that looks like this, and the folklore mares, which we get the word nightmare from, were once believed to be the cause of it, then clearly it's perfect that Darkrai has it. And another name for it was Wichtelzopf, meaning Plait of White, as it was believed to have been caused by a visiting wight, a ghoulish undead being, sometimes ghostly, another source of a generic boogeyman, a thing that creeps in the night, like Darkrai. And all of these tales, by the way, are known thanks in part to the research done by the Brothers Grimm. You know, the authors responsible for why certain fairy tales became significantly more well-known in mainstream. The ones that Disney took and made significantly less dark because originally they were incredibly dark and messed up. Just like Darkrai. Also, by the way, the Grimm brothers and Hans Christian Andersen were doing their things back when Polish Plait was at its peak. Just saying. Darkrai really screams sort of fairy tale monster, fairy tale ghost, right? The time of scarecrows and boogeymen and terrifying tales to keep kids in line, tales of horrible beasts in the woods and shadows with big monstrous, sharp, exposed, possibly blood-stained teeth, frayed clothing, and wicked demeanors. Think Bloodborne. And honestly, Darkrai would fit right in there, especially with its leggies. Big shoulders, big long coat, but it's all frayed, so it's kind of short. Darkrai looks kind of like a vampire hunter or a witch hunter, right? It's not just me. Speaking of witches, though, that had a lot to do with Cresselia, who also pulled from all of those tales of goddesses who had affairs with mortal farmhands, which is the type of person that would most commonly get this hair condition that Darkrai sort of also has. So, new moon, full moon, good dreams, bad dreams, feminine, masculine, tranquility, horror, peace, and anxiety, primarily Eastern and primarily Western. Then in the West, the formless darkness gets together with the goddess of the night, and the summer triangle has both the peaceful, beautiful, horny swan as well as the terrifying and dark Aquila eagle, and there's love and war. These guys are pretty cool. I like that a lot. They work really well together. Very neato. Very well thought out design. Or a lot of really cool coincidences. But what do you think? Let me know down below. And once again, big thanks to today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Check them out with the link below. And until next time, you never stop using your noggin.